All right, ladies and gentlemen, Halo Campaign Evolved has been revealed. The Combat Evolved remake that has been the worst kept secret in history of Halo, basically, up to this point. We finally got the reveal at the Halo World Championship this past weekend, and we actually got a lot of information. The game was actually playable. They had a demo of the Silent Cartographer for the folks who were at the Halo World Championship, which is freaking awesome. I'm super glad that those folks got the chance to hop in. And then the game was also spread out to a few different creators and media outlets in the recent weeks leading up to this event, and they were able to share their thoughts and their perspectives on Halo Campaign Evolved after whatever their embargo was when they revealed the game this past weekend. So, it's been a few days at this point. I feel like at this point, it's time for me to kind of sit here and provide my thoughts because there's a lot of them. And this is a big deal for Halo in some various ways. Let me just start it off. Let me preface it by just giving you the TLDR. I think this is a really great move, and I'm very excited. With that being said, let me explain why. So, if you guys have watched me for any period of time, you know that I'm relatively cynical when it comes to modern Halo. I've got some things that I like about it. I've got some things that I don't like about it. Notoriously, I've been a huge negatory when it comes to Halo 4 and Halo 5. I really like the gameplay of Halo Infinite. But as everybody knows, they just extraordinarily dropped the ball on release. And unfortunately, what was a great game there to start just had nothing to do. And it died like literally instantly. Outside of the HCS has done really, really well, which is actually fantastic. And I'm glad that they've been able to do that. So, by and large, Halo, for me, hasn't been in a great spot for a long time, which sucks as a lifelong Halo fan, man. I played Halo Combat Evolved, the original, when I was 3 years old, back in 2002. That was my very first game I ever played. I was born in 99, and I played it for the first time in 2002 with my dad. I remember him doing his System Link LAN parties where his other buddies would bring their TVs and their Xboxes over, and they'd have 16 folks playing. I mean, come on, right? Like that was the time. And I do genuinely remember those memories. So like Halo is my game. It's my life and blood when it comes to shooters. I haven't loved it, in recent years. So I've been really keen to see what would Halo Studios actually do with a Halo Combat Evolved remake in Unreal Engine 5, right? Because we know that really the biggest problem that has been ailing Halo Studios, and at the time 343 Industries when it came to Halo Infinite, was the Slipspace engine and the amalgamation of engines before that. That was the problem, especially considering Microsoft's 18-month contract mandate that they have when it comes to hiring people. By the time they got people worked up to the engine, it was time for them to leave. So it was just really hard to get consistent work done with the previous engine. So now that they have moved to Unreal, what does it look like? Well, ladies and gentlemen, my genuine thoughts are that I'm actually really, really positive about what I've seen from Halo Campaign Evolved. I will say, don't love the name. Think the name is a little quirky. It's kind of on the nose, but if the goal was to get the idea across that this is a campaign-only game and they wanted to keep the Halo CE, phrasing, they did the job, I guess. In that regard, they did, in fact, hit the nail on the head. So, there you go. But regardless of the name, the game itself, honestly, man, I actually think it looks really, really damn good. And that's, I don't know if I'm surprised to say that or what, but I'm honestly really excited about what I've seen, which maybe it's the fact that I'm like really starved as a Halo fan and I'm just like really looking for anything. Maybe there's some of that. But frankly, I kind of really enjoyed what I saw. Now, is it perfect? No, there's definitely some things that need work, right? Obviously, with it being in Unreal, you're going to have, well, I should say Unreal 5, you're going to have some of these stutterings and issues with lighting and, little hitches and stuff that are happening because of the way the engine functions. It needs a little bit more time to get fleshed out, and we have that time. The game is confirmed to be releasing next year in Halo's 25th anniversary. Now, we don't know when. They did not give us a date or even a time window, which is interesting because a lot of times they'll tell us like, fall or holiday 2026, right? They didn't say that, which makes me think there's a possibility this game doesn't actually come out at the end of the year and maybe more like Q1 or Q2. We'll see about that. But with that being said, it comes out next year. So we've got some time to work on the game still, to flesh out the bugs, to get the performance running where it needs to be, where you would expect from a flagship Xbox game, a flagship Halo title. I think that we're going to get that fixed up. So honestly, I'm not concerned in the slightest as far as the performance is concerned. What I am really, really interested in, though, is the visuals, because my God, have they done a legendary job of bringing Halo Combat Evolved into the year 2025 with this unbelievable tech that Unreal has. When you compare this to the 2011 CE anniversary remaster, holy shit, man, it's not even close. It's not even close. It is not even close. Everybody who has issues with the CE remaster, which I do too. Every time I play CE, I'm always playing on the original graphics. Dude, this is a whole night and day difference. Whole night and day difference. This is exactly what I would hope for in a Combat Evolved remake. Remaking this game from the ground up, which is what they've done, by the way, in Unreal 5 and the Blam engine, sort of a combined effort. This is exactly what I would want and expect from the visuals. I mean, it looks unbelievable. The particles, the lighting, the way that the plasma looks, the darkness. Oh my God, something that has been missing from Halo is the darkness. I mean, you got to think, in the original, from 2001 to 2010, I suppose, Halo had a lot of darkness involved, right? A lot of grittiness, a lot of mystery. And it's been missing from Halo for a long time now. But wow, when you just look at the way that the game is put together, especially when they go on the silent cartographer, when they go into the Forerunner elements of the map, now you really get that sense of darkness, and it just looks amazing. And then the plasma really shines, and just wow, dude, it looks really, really good. Now, I know there's a lot of conversation about the way that the Forerunner structures look. Some folks are saying that it's too shiny. I can totally get that. I am not going to sit here and say that is an incorrect perspective, because I think it's a totally valid perspective. However, I also want to say that I think it is also a valid perspective to think of the idea that, yes, this has been here for 100,000 years, but Forerunner technology is Forerunner technology, right? Like, they are these superior beings. So it's, in my opinion, not out of the realm of possibility that this stuff would look beautiful and pristine. I could see it both ways. I could see it needing to be some grunginess, some dirtiness on there, kind of layered over top of the shine. And I could also see it being shiny and that being, something that makes sense. I could see it going both ways. I don't have a preference one way or another. It's fine to me one way or another, whether Halo Studios decides to add a layer of grunge to it or not. It's fine to me. That I don't particularly care. I do recognize that it's a conversation, and your opinion on that is totally valid. I get it. That's just my opinion on the matter. Moving forward from that, so some of the things that we have confirmed for the Halo campaign Evolved, we're getting 4-player online co-op, which is just awesome, dude. Like, in a day and age where Halo in 343, and I'm excluding Halo Studios because they're a different studio and they have yet to release a game, but 343 had a hell of a time getting co-op working in their games. Halo 5, they did have, I believe, 4-player online co-op, and that's kind of where the whole Fire Team Osiris kind of came from, of course, that whole thing, and the Blue Team, blah, blah, blah. But by and large, they've had a hard time with co-op. They just have. They've had a hard time with you playing campaign with other people. But in Campaign Evolved, they're making a huge emphasis on the fact that you, in fact, can play with 4 people online co-op, cross-play across all platforms with cross-progression and cross-save, which is absolutely massive, especially considering the fact that this game is a Xbox Play Anywhere title. So if you have an Xbox or a PC, you can get your cross-save, cross-progression across both of those, no problem. So absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to try and play this game with some friends. It's going to be phenomenal. On top of that, finally, the return of the king. We're getting split screen 2-player co-op. Now, pause. We've heard this before, and it didn't happen. So, pause until it actually is in our hands and we can physically click the button and do it. I will say one little thing I'm a little bummed about is that I play on PC, and I also have the new Asus ROG Xbox Ally X, which is dope, by the way. So unfortunately, it looks like I probably won't be able to take advantage of the 2-player split screen co-op because they mentioned this was Xbox specific, or I should, sorry, let me rephrase that, console specific. I'll get to that in a moment. But they didn't mention PC for that. So I'm assuming that you're not going to be able to do a split screen co-op, 2-player co-op on PC. I'm just assuming. But we have it for console, which is fucking awesome. And I'm super, super excited for folks who have consoles to be able to do that finally. I mean, it has been, when was the last time we had it? Was it Halo 4? Was the last time we had split screen co-op? I mean, golly, 2012. Like, are you serious? Over 13 years. Golly, man, that's absolutely insane. But we have it confirmed for Halo Campaign Evolved, which is absolutely phenomenal. We're also going to be getting 9 brand new weapons that we can use in the campaign. Brand new is a loose term. What I mean by that is 9 weapons in the Halo Sandbox that we can use in Campaign Evolved that you could not use in Combat Evolved. The Energy Sword, for example, is something that was in Combat Evolved, but you could not use, or the Sentinel Beam was in Combat Evolved, but you could not use. Now those weapons are usable. Also, we've got weapons like the Battle Rifle that will be able to be used. I also believe I heard the Needle Rifle. There is some interesting weapons from the Halo Sandbox that we will actually be able to use now, which is freaking awesome. Also, vehicle hijacking is something that is now in the game. Damage to vehicles, interesting choice. Don't know how I feel about that, but it's not something that's going to make me, go one way or another. Is what it is. They've also made some structural changes to the various levels to just work with, having 4-player co-op. They've had to, adjust how they are a little bit or expand them in order to match, the experience, but also the players. They've done some tweaking here and there, which I think is totally fine. And what we've at least seen so far, it works totally fine. They've done some structural changes, like on the Silent Cartographer, there's a particular section where you fight the hunters where visually it actually looks a little different. I think they put it like a spire there instead of the structure that was there before. Some people are like going crazy over that. Bro, I don't know why. Like, it looks great, man. Like, what are we doing? One thing that has kind of bugged me a little bit is, God, man, listen, I am definitely a cynical Halo fan, but holy shit, the amount of negativity that I've seen from the Halo community is just unbelievable. When you look at the general gaming audience, people are excited, but then you get into the nitty gritty and the Halo fans are like, I hate it. It's horrible. I don't understand. Anyways, sidebar. More things that are in here. Let's see. Sprint. Yes, they did it. I don't like Sprint. I've never been a fan of Sprint. I think Sprint was a horrible decision to bring to Halo, but it's here. And, I was expecting it to be here. I was hoping it wouldn't, but I was expecting it would be. But there's a little bit of an asterisk, and this is really, really interesting. By default, Sprint is in the game. However, there is a setting that you can go in and disable the modern mechanics. Now, I don't know exactly explicitly what that for sure means, but what we've at least seen is that you can go in and disable Sprint, which is just a really wild thing that Halo Studios has done. Because, I mean, listen, the conversation about Sprint has existed since 343 took over. Like, it has existed since Bungie dropped Halo Reach. Like, it has been around. But they've never tried this solution, which is interesting, because I am of the opinion that I think that Halo Infinite kind of did the whole sprint thing the best, because the base movement speed was really close. I think it was like only like 9% slower than Sprint, if I remember correctly. It worked really well. The way that they did the sprint and movement functionality in Halo Infinite worked really well. I thought it was a perfectly reasonable solution and the best implementation that they ever did. But here in Halo Campaign Evolved, from what I can tell, the sprint is actually a little bit faster. It's kind of a little bit more similar to Halo 5 Guardians, which is interesting. I do not like Halo 5, but an interesting move there. But it looks like they didn't change the sizing of everything in order to compensate for the sprint, which is really interesting, because that's one of the biggest things that I don't like about the implementation of sprint, is that it elongates and just grows everything in the map to accommodate for the adjusted speed. And I haven't played this, so I can't tell you for sure, but from what I've seen and heard from other people, it looks like they didn't really do that. It looks like it's the same general size. You just have the option to sprint, or you can disable it and not have sprint at all. So I'm really curious to see how does the game play if you're not sprinting? I will probably try it both ways. You know, I'll probably play it with sprint and I'll probably play it without sprint, but I'm really curious to see how that is actually going to function. It's really interesting to me. I'm very, very keen to try that out. And I'm actually really thankful that they've even given this as an option. It's a weird acknowledgement to me. Like this is the closest that we've ever gotten to Halo Studios /343 launching a game without sprint. Like it's kind of interesting to me. With that also being said, some other modern, things that we gotten tossed into there. Obviously, we've got hit markers, which you're gonna get hit markers from a modern Halo. It is what it is. You can have the conversation about the OG Halo and the skill that it takes to with not having hit markers, blah blah blah. But at this point, Dave, we're splitting hairs. Hit markers are in the game, and then on top of that, we got Smart Link, which it's fine. It was in Infinite. It was in Halo 5. I hated it in Halo 5, but it was better in Infinite. It's fine. At this point, it's whatever, dude. Like, there's certain things where, do I like them? No, not really. But I'm going to live with them, and I'll explain why. One of the biggest things that I had a really big problem with Halo 4, Halo 5, to a much lesser extent, Halo Infinite, because by and large, I actually enjoyed the game, and I've talked about that, but one of the biggest reasons why I did not like Halo 4 and I did not like Halo 5, not saying they were bad games, because they were actually very good games. Both of them were very good games. They were just bad Halo games. My perspective on it is that Halo 4 and Halo 5 added a bunch of modern AAA mechanics that were from other shooters on the market. They added a bunch of things into the game that were foreign to Halo. And I did not like them. But the reason why it was so impactful, things like sprint or ADSing in Halo 5, why that was just a gargantuan thing that really made a big difference, was because the rest of the game around those mechanics and those features didn't feel like Halo, right? The art style was drastically different. The music was drastically different. The storytelling was drastically different. The fact that we didn't have like that military feel that Halo's 1 through, Reach did. The feel of Halo wasn't there in Halo 4 and Halo 5 Guardians. So you take the fact that it doesn't feel like Halo and you throw in all of these additional mechanics that aren't Halo mechanics, historically, and it just makes the game completely feel different, completely feel like it's not Halo, and it was something that I absolutely didn't like. With that being said, and again, I haven't played this, but from what I've seen and heard, this is my perspective. The feel of Halo is absolutely present in Halo Campaign Evolved. Granted, it's one single mission and it's 15 minutes, right? It's a silent cartographer. It's a small sample size, but from what I could tell, the feel of Halo is there, both from just a twitching around on your controller perspective, but also the aura, the music, the atmosphere, everything that's there feels like Halo. You feel enraptured in the Halo essence. And yes, you do have these other mechanics, but because it still feels like Halo, it feels better. And that's kind of what Halo Infinite was like, because Halo Infinite kind of brought back a lot of those older feelings of Halo, right? Of course, we all know about the art style change and the music change and kind of how they toned it back down to be more chief focused, all these things. And because of that, some of those modern mechanics that were still there, like sliding and sprinting, it felt more at home because the rest of the game felt like Halo. And that's the vibe that I'm getting from Halo Campaign Evolved. It feels like Halo all around. So for me, I'm okay to concede and move forward with these modern mechanics if the rest of the game feels and makes me enraptured in that Halo essence, which to me, it seems like that's what we're getting. We'll see, but that's what it feels like we're getting. So with that being said, the other major bit of news for the Halo Campaign Evolved game that's coming out next year is that it's coming to PlayStation. It finally happened. The world is ending. Pigs are flying. The fat lady's singing. It is crazy. Halo is finally coming to PlayStation. Now, to be frank with you, we've known this for the folks who have paid attention to the leaks over the last year. We've known that Halo was coming to PlayStation. Also, if you've paid attention to the Xbox way of life over the last couple of years, the writing was on the wall that Halo was going to be coming to PlayStation, but also not even just because of that, but because of where Halo is at in general, right? Halo was brought to PC in order to try and gather a broader gaming audience, right? Like that was what happened. They brought it to PC because we've been begging, please bring it to PC. We have more players, bring it to PC. They brought it to PC. Well, Halo Infinite, in the long run, didn't succeed, and they saw that internally as a failure. Well, there's a lot of things going on here. So in order to grab some more players, toss that sucker on PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? I'll go a little bit deeper into that here in a moment, but it's finally happened, man. Halo is coming to PlayStation, and Sketch said that moving forward, all Halo games will be going to PlayStation day and date, which I think personally, as a OG Halo player, I think it's a good thing. I think that the gaming world, the players of games now expect different things, and everything about the gaming culture has changed. I think that players are looking to play games on more devices and more locations. I personally, like I said, I have the new Asus ROG Xbox Ally X, and I absolutely love it. I have played more games in the span of the last 3 weeks than I played in the entirety of the year leading up to this. Like, I love that thing. I love my Switch 2. I have a gaming PC, and I love being able to play games everywhere. So I think that this is a net positive for Halo Studios to bring Halo Campaign Evolved and all the future Halo games to PlayStation moving forward. It's more players, it's more of an opportunity, and especially if they release good products, it's only an even bigger net positive, because you release good product, you get more players simply because the game is good, and then you're on additional platforms, the bigger platform. Now all of a sudden, you've got so many new players that are jumping in. With that being said, I want to kind of talk about the strategy. Is this a good strategy? Why is this happening? Why are we getting this on, why are we getting Halo Campaign Evolved, first off, and why are we getting on a PlayStation? This is what I think is going on. I think that Microsoft and Halo Studios, they know, all right, they know that this shit hasn't been good, right? They know that Halo Infinite, in terms of a player base and monetary success, it wasn't one. It wasn't a success. Yes, they had 300,000 players on Steam when the beta launched for Halo Infinite, but they never reached that again, and they lost nearly all of those players within like 3 months. So, listen, Halo Infinite wasn't a success. It was a big failure. They have not had good faith from the general gaming audience in a long time. So has Xbox. Xbox has also been failing in the public eye for a while. A lot of things have been happening, right? There's a whole conversation there. But specifically here, I think that Microsoft and Halo Studios, they want to celebrate Halo's 25th anniversary in style, right? Also, Halo Studios has yet to ship a game. Also, they've yet to ship a game in Unreal Engine 5. So what is the best way to kick things off, to kind of start that franchise resuscitation, as Jason Schreier said in his report not too long ago? Start with the game that started it all, Halo Combat Evolved, right? Remake it for modern audiences, but don't just remaster it. Remake it. Make it again from the ground up with modern mechanics, with modern visuals. Bring it to PlayStation. Release it as a campaign only, and I actually like this decision. People are disappointed that they don't have the multiplayer attached. I think this is intentional, and I actually like the decision. Don't do multiplayer right now for a variety of reasons, but let me just put it this way. Focus on the campaign. Get the campaign right. What is the number one thing that 343 has failed at consistently? They haven't been able to build a good campaign. Halo Infinite was better, but Halo 5 was hot trash, and Halo 4, depending on who you ask, was also hot trash, or it was amazing. It depends on who you ask. Personally, I don't love the storytelling in it, but that's here, whatever. My point is, they've struggled with that. So focus on something specific. Nail the campaign. Nail what the game is going to be in a small sense. Release a good product that people see as being very good. What you created is good. All of a sudden, you release a complete product that is good. Now you have good, positive vibes and people who are interested in what you're going to do next. What's the next thing? The multiplayer game, right? Also, why would they remake the Halo Combat Evolved multiplayer in Halo Campaign Evolved just to drop a new dedicated multiplayer game shortly after. It just doesn't make any sense. Also, too, you got to think about it, guys. This game is going to PlayStation. So you're introducing this game to a whole new audience of players who have never played Halo. Why would you release that with one version of multiplayer on your first try with these players, which the first try is the most important try, and then release a multiplayer game that's also going to go to PlayStation players that's going to be wildly different than the Combat Evolved multiplayer? Why would you do that? It doesn't make any logical sense. You just got to think about this for more than 10 seconds to understand why they're doing it this way. I think this is a strong strategic move. I think it makes a lot of sense. Because I'm also really excited and I have faith in what Certain Affinity is putting together. So, with all that being said, I think that's what's going on. Halo Studios is trying to get a W, basically, to boil it down. They're trying to get a dub, to get some good community sentiment, to then release the next big project. Okay, there's that. One other thing that I did forget to mention, which is kind of crazy because it's like the biggest thing in my opinion, 3 brand new bonus missions that are going to be prequel missions to the beginning of Halo Combat Evolved, the original story when Chief wakes up in the cryo chamber. We're getting 3 bonus missions that are prequel to the beginning of the game. Now, we don't know exactly how that's going to be ingested into this. Is it something you unlock after completing the game, or is it going to be just built into the way that the story progresses? You start in the prequel missions, and then you get to the first mission after the first 3 are done? We don't know yet. But what we do know is that these missions are going to focus on Master Chief and Sergeant Avery Johnson. I mean, golly, dude, that sounds unbelievable. There's a lot of different things that we can theorize here. Are they just creating a brand new story? Are they going to be adapting from the book material, which is what I think is happening, especially considering the fact that they've talked about new book releases, and I believe, I'm almost 1,000% on this, they are re-releasing The Fall of Reach, The Flood, and First Strike with some changes to bring everything in line with where the current storytelling of Halo is. So to me, that tells me absolutely they're adapting something from the books. Now, where are they adapting the story? Are they going to go back a little further in time with Chief and Johnson, or are they going to go straight to The Fall of Reach? I don't care which one it is. Personally, I kind of would love to see them go like The Fall of Reach into CE. Like that, to me, makes so much sense, and I would love to see that in the game. But I'm down for anything, man. Honestly, I'm super stoked because this is going to be brand new missions, brand new story. This will be the very first bit of brand new storytelling that we've seen from Halo Studios. So I'm really, really keen to see what they're able to do with that. Also, and Jesus, dude, there's so much about this campaign Evolved that I wanted to talk about that I completely forgot about this too. They're redoing the cutscenes. They redid the cutscenes from the ground up, and oh my God. Wow, dude, talk about the feel of Halo. This is kind of what I was talking about. The cutscenes that we saw, especially when Chief was going in the Forerunner and then he goes and kicks the light, the Forerunner area, and he kicks the light off the edge. Wow. I mean, dude, the lighting, the atmosphere. Are you kidding me, dude? Oh my God, it looks so beautiful. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I am stoked out of my mind for these cutscenes, bro. They killed it. They genuinely killed it. And again, a small sample size, right? So keep your expectations to a certain point. But from what I've seen, it looks amazing. Another quick thing to mention too that I forgot as well. There's so many things. We've seen some concept art for some various things that they're putting into the game. Obviously, the Maw. Whoo, man, the Flood look unbelievable. This game is going to most likely be rated M for mature. They have blood. The Flood look like they're going to be crazy. They've got the tank form, some of the pure forms. Oh my dude, I'm telling you, there's so many things about this game that look absolutely amazing. Look, let me just wrap it all up into this. Do I think that Halo Campaign Evolved is going to be the thing that just throws Halo back into the limelight? No, it won't be. It's not intended to do that. This is intended to get the spark relit, essentially, after the dormancy that we've had over the last 4 years. And I think it's going to do that. From what I've seen, I think it's going to succeed. This game isn't supposed to be a long-term game. It's a single-player game, man. Yes, they have the most skulls that they've ever had in a Halo, which is awesome, and that's absolutely fantastic. Personally, for me, I've never used a skull. I've never done lasso. I've never done any of that stuff. I just like to get the main gameplay and the story. That's just me, right? But that's awesome. They've got 24 skulls in this game. So for the folks that like to do that, you got a lot of content there, a lot of replayability. But in general, for general gaming audiences, this is going to be a one and done kind of thing, right? It's a story, single player game. That's what it is, / co-op. You get it done and it's over with. But what this is supposed to do is it's supposed to provide a good, solid, high value product that people can complete and enjoy. And now all of a sudden, you've gotten good graces. You've gotten people now keen and interested in your next project. That's what this is supposed to be. That's what I'm seeing out of this, and that's what I'm hoping it delivers on, because that's the biggest thing that we've always had an issue with from 343. We've yet to see anything from Halo Studios, but with 343, they were never able to provide that complete finished product. That's what we got to see from Halo Campaign Evolved. They've also opened up the Halo Insider program to PlayStation consoles now for PlayStation 5. So that makes me think that we're going to be seeing some flighting or some demoing for Halo Campaign Evolved here relatively soon, I would imagine. I hope so. I mean, they just had the game playable for folks at the Halo World Championship. I would really hope that they would allow the general public to get into the insider sessions to play some of this as well. I would really, really love for that to happen, because there's definitely a lot of things that need some work. And I didn't really talk about any of the things that need work. I mean, maybe I mentioned a few things, but there's a lot of that conversation already out there. I wanted to spark in some positivity because I am genuinely really excited. I'm feeling really happy and positive about what I've seen and what I've heard. And I think we've got potential for something really strong to happen for Halo. Those are my thoughts. I know I've been rambling for forever, but there's just a lot to talk about with this, man. I've been consuming a lot of media, a lot of stuff about this game, and I've got a lot of thoughts, and I just wanted to kind of express everything. So if you're still listening at this point, hey, man, pop a comment down there telling me you're still watching at this point, because that's you're a freaking legend, and I appreciate you. Let me know your thoughts on the reveal in the comments down below. Do you feel how I feel? Are you excited? Are you tepid? Were you disappointed? Are you a PlayStation gamer ready to jump in? Just let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. One real quick thing to mention, this trailer, this announcement actually kind of went bonkers on Twitter. I mean, we're talking across like everything. We're talking probably 30, 40 million views across everything. The official announcements on PlayStation and Halo alone were right around 20-ish plus million. So there's a lot of eyeballs on this. There's a lot of people interested and actually excited and happy. So I'm curious to see your thoughts in the comments. Like this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more Halo content just like this. We're definitely going to be talking Halo Campaign Evolved on the channel as we get more and more information leading up to release, because there's still so much that I haven't even talked about. But this video is already 30 minutes long. It's time to get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one.